This is what improper solder mask application looks like. But in just 10 minutes you'll know pretty much everything about solder masks. Instead of a thin crust with liquid underneath, you'll be able to make really strong and reliable protective layer. We'll go through everything step by step, choosing and storing the mask, picking the right lamp, prepping the surface, applying the layer, and of course curing. Hey, you're on a Photo Fix channel. I fix graphics cards and other stuff too. UV curing solder mask. Apply it, shine the UV light, and you get a tough, heat-resistant coating. Super useful stuff for electronics repair. Yet one of the most underrated materials out there. People mess it up all the time. But I'm actually not gonna start with the mask itself. First thing you should always remember, UV light is bad for your eyes. Whenever you work with UV lamps, wear protective glasses. Pretty much any polycarbonate safety glasses block almost the entire UV spectrum. Okay, first let's pick a mask. There are basically two types, slow curing and quick curing. The slow ones are the older, classic green masks everyone knows. Lots of brands call them UVH 900. I've got versions from Mechanic and Amoe. Right now I wouldn't recommend buying them. They lose in every way to the quick ones. They take forever to cure, and the depth of hardening is really shallow. Quick masks are the newer generation. They harden in literally a few seconds and much deeper. I've got the real-life one, UVH 902. Similar stuff comes from Tool, Mant, GTX and others. Usually they come in black opaque tubes. For some jobs you can even use clear craft resin. It's very strong and cures even deeper than quick masks. But it has one downside. It softens when heated. How it behaves on a hot BGA station is hard to predict. Still, if you're not planning serious board heating, it's perfectly usable. You remember that the mask cures from ultraviolet light, right? And where do we have tons of UV? Exactly, in sunlight. That's why newer generation masks come in black opaque tubes. You can just leave them on the desk, nothing bad will happen to them. But masks in clear tubes, if you store them like that, they'll gradually thicken and go bad over time. And obviously, don't keep a clear tube right next to your UV lamp workspace either. Those need to stay in a box or a closed drawer where daylight can't reach. Temperature barely affects shelf life. This Mechanic has been sitting in my cabinet at room temp for several years. Still works exactly the same. Next up, UV lamps. I remember struggling to get proper curing. Tried bigger, more powerful lamps, switched masks. Super common mistake. Of course, the problem wasn't the lamps. It was the older type masks. They just don't cure deep, even with extra time. For the vast majority of cases, any specialized UV mask lamp will work just fine. I use the Mechanic L1 Pro. It has a convenient shape, you can place it right on the board with little legs. It's also battery powered and charges via USB, really convenient. Before that, I used a nail lamp. It works okay, but it's bulky. Plus, some nail lamps work in a slightly different part of the UV spectrum that doesn't always match the solder masks perfectly. There is no single correct way to apply a solder mask. I personally use two tweezers. One to grab a drop of mask, and the second, under the microscope, to place exactly the amount I need. Some people drop a blob next to the working area. But then you have to clean the excess of the board, which isn't always fun. Zach from NanoFix channel uses special needles. Interesting stuff, worth trying. Let's do a quick comparison of different mask types. We'll put big drops of both, and one more bigger drop of the quick mask, curing for 1 full minute. The slow mask looks okay, but it's not. Inside it's still liquid, only a thin outer shell hardened. Longer curing time won't fix that. What about the quick mask of the same size? Fully cured all the way through. For that thickness even 3 seconds would have been enough. In the big drops, there is still some liquid in the very middle, but the depth is impressive. Longer exposure lets quick mask cure even deeper. Now let's try thin layers. Curing for only 10 seconds. Quick mask, as expected, hardened perfectly. But look, even the slow mask on such a thin layer cured as well. Bottom line, slow masks only work decently in very thin layers. That's why you can't use them for filling. Sure, you can put it in multiple layers, but it's not convenient. I wouldn't trust them to hold custom wire pads either. They'll come loose. Best use for slow masks, repairing damaged factory mask, and insulating layers when grinding. Quick masks, on the other hand, cure way deeper and more reliably. So, first common mistake, applying too thick a layer. Mask stays liquid inside. Solder mask is basically a kind of glue, and like any glue, it needs proper surface prep. Two key things here. First, cleanliness. Any dirt, especially leftover flux, kills adhesion. Sooner or later, the mask will peel off. For reliable bonding, the surface must be dry and spotless. And second, the surface itself. The smoother it is, the worse the mask sticks. So, if possible, slightly abrade the spot where you'll apply it. I use rubber nail polishing bits. Let's compare how it holds with different prep. The first case, which I actually see pretty often, solder something, roughly wipe flux and slap some mask on. The second case, properly cleaned surface. And the third case, light abrasion. In the first case, mask flies off from a light touch. In the second case, it holds better, but still peels with some force. And finally, in the third case, it took me way more effort to rip the drop off, but later I'll show how to make adhesion even stronger. So, second frequent mistake, poor or no surface preparation. Now let's bust one popular myth. Some people think slow masks cure quicker and deeper if you apply hot air from a heat gun. Let's test it. Two different boards, so heat from one doesn't affect the other. 2 drops on each. Curing time just about 10 seconds. First board, no hot air, drop still looks wet. Second board, heat gun at 200 degrees Celsius. You can see the mask turns matte almost instantly. Now let's compare. Seems like the first one is still liquid. Let's wipe it with IPA. And it turns out it's matte too. The hot air drop looks hard, but inside it's still liquid. Just like the one without hot air. Clearly, hot air doesn't help slow mask anyhow. But what about quick masks? Again, 2 boards, 2 drops to check depth, 2 more on prepped areas to check adhesion. Curing time 5 seconds. Without hot air, still liquid inside, popped off pretty easily. But with hot air, completely different story. Even on smooth board, the drop holds super tight, only slightly damp in the center. On the prepped spot, I could barely tear it off, even scratch the factory mask. Notice the drop didn't just fall off, it cracked through the drop itself. Some mask stayed stuck to the board. Let's wrap it up. Here is the recipe for a really solid, reliable solder mask layer. Prep the surface properly. Use a modern, quick curing mask. Apply a reasonable thickness. Shine any decent UV lamp for 10 seconds or longer. Add some hot air up to your taste. And of course, don't forget safety glasses. Like I promised, 10 minutes. That's a perfect moment to smash that like button and subscribe. By the way, speaking of repairs, just recently I had a crazy case with a miraculously survived Radeon 7600 graphics card. You gotta check it.